Hi beautiful people, welcome to Kate's Space. I'm Kate from Pixie Designs, and today I am going to tackle more scraps. So I will put this in the using your scraps playlist, which I'll link because I've done a few others but not as many as what I had planned. Now I don't know about you, if you make journals, what you do with all the offcuts. So say you're resizing papers to fit into a signature, or you fold too many and then you take some out. This is all mine that I've got left over, and I've been folding them into little booklets, and I haven't got any covers for them. So I thought, I wonder how many different ways of covers I could come up with and how I could make these into little booklets. But when I was looking through them, I saw that they haven't really been overly well thought out, which isn't really a problem, I guess. This one already has this vintage envelope on it, and obviously I've started, I've put this antique book page there, excuse me, and this one I think I am not going to change. So we all know that these old envelopes make beautiful covers for booklets, and that's been a little bit strengthened there. So I'll put that one aside. Then what I thought I would do is have a look through them. So I feel like these go that way. So this one here, this has got that's a digital. Most of them are repurposed and vintage papers. I think that one's okay. I might leave that one as it is. Now this one has some old sort of papers in it. Has this really narrow one. And then everything's kind of quite the same. So I'm wondering whether I might separate out the pages first. So sort of to plain, that's antique sort of book page, that's plain, and then book page, book page, book page, and then say sort of coloured. That's kind of, I'll go with book page. That's a digital, obviously. So let's do that, and then maybe recollate them into booklets so that they don't all have the same stuff. So that's ephemera, and then lined paper, and that's ephemera. I'll just put that with lined paper. How is everybody today? I hope you're well. Hope you don't mind me doing this. This is actually a digital, so I'll put that with that. And that's plain. Hope you're all well. Getting crafting done. I know that in New Zealand, if you're in the school, school system, it's holidays or term break. I don't want to overthink these too much, because that was kind of the cool thing about these, is that they are see, I'm getting confused about where I've put everything. They are just sort of put together as scraps. So that's the paper bag. I think I'll put the music separately as well. Right, and then I had all these, this is the one that made me think I needed to rethink them, because this one's just got all lined papers in it. But I wanted this to be sort of a quickish project. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. I didn't realise. So you just see how many pieces that I've had sort of lying around, and not used. And these little notebooks can be great to include with journals. They can go along with journals. But I wanted to make covers with something. I'm not sure what. Goodness me, there's a lot of paper here. See this, and this will be so great to get done, because what I do with Braille, because I really don't want them lying around anymore. So there's a lot of lined paper. Sort of some old book page. So not many digitals at all. I mean, I could add digitals, or I could use digitals as the cover. Now when I put them back together, I'm probably not even going to like them as much. But anyway, let's just start putting them together. And that's got an old vintage sticker on it. And we'll see what we end up with. And they'll probably possibly be cut down. Yes, but that's the problem. You start rethinking everything that you've done. Okay, I'm just going to leave that one like that. And we decided we liked that one, all right, so that's 2. And this is really heavy, so I mean that could almost be a cover on its own. But like I said, we just want to make some little booklets. Yep, that's cool. Out of these scraps that are lying around, I need to do something about them. So yeah, they're cut-offs and things that were didn't end up being used for some reason. See, that's quite wide, that's quite big. Okay, let's just go with that. So some of them, yeah, are quite big, too big probably. And some of them have these sort of short pages. Okay, so this is taking too long for my liking. I wish I hadn't undone them all now. But that's right. There we go. It's alright, I can always skip, edit this out. I sat down to try and make this video yesterday, and for some reason I just couldn't really get my head around filming anything yesterday. So here I am, giving it a go today. We'll see how we go. Let's make a teeny tiny one, or a smaller one. They're all quite neutral, which is cool. I like that. This one. That's heaps and heaps. Crazy, right? So yeah, so this is kind of what I end up with. I mean, these are after making loads of journals and then just not managing to get the pieces in that I want to put in, or tearing them down, like I said. So I'm going to put those aside. And then we've got all of these. Now my first cover idea is going to be, I think I'd like to use some wallpaper. And I have this really old wallpaper here that I haven't used. I know if I bend it, it's going to crack. Trying to work out which one it would be best on. So I might use it on this one. And I'm going to tear it and then I'm going to strengthen it, I think. And we'll just see what happens, if it works out or if it doesn't work out. So I'm going to tear it along that line there, and that still gives me a little bit to play with. And then I'm going to make that the front. So what are we going to strengthen it with? What would we like on the inside of here? Would we like music? Some lovely music paper would be nice. But again, that's probably going to crack. Or should we just go for some just plain tea-stained coffee dyed paper? I think that's what I'll do. And I might just glue that in there. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. These would be great for little happy mails as well. Just as a little gift. And hopefully now I've started, some ideas might start flowing. I hope so. I've had these wallpapers sitting here for a while. I've scanned some of them to the best of my ability and tried to get the colours as close as I could to the originals. That seems like an easy task, but not for me. So I'm thinking I'll put one up in the Junk Journal Collective Facebook group as a freebie. What's the easiest way to do this? Probably if I turn... Oh, I'm just going to pop that on there and try and match it up as best I can. And then if I want to use them again, I can. Now I think we're probably going to see some cracking on this. They are really old, fragile wallpapers, so it's the 1st of October today, so happy October, everybody. I know that's a big sort of month for people who are into Halloween. We don't really have much of a Halloween culture here in New Zealand. I mean, the kids try and get into it because then they know they can go trick-or-treating. But really, it's not a big thing here. This isn't going to be... Whoops, that did not tear well, did it? This is not going to be particularly straight or anything. It's just like... There we go. Now the problem being now is we have to wait for it to dry before we can bend it. A little bit of glue up there, which is a shame. And I probably should make something with this straight away before it gets ruined, shouldn't I? So this is going to be for this one, isn't it? So I want to actually, I'll fold that in for now, but I might end up tearing it down. Let's have a look what we've got in here, and if we like. I like seeing that. Now this is quite delicate, this paper, so I've obviously strengthened it, so it's obviously been torn off something that I've used before. It's got this little tear here, so I know this doesn't exactly match, but it's kind of on along a similar vein, so maybe I'll just stick a little bit of washi tape there. I don't know what these are going to turn out like. So you can still kind of see Gazette through there. And then this is just some vintage lined notepad paper, note paper. This is vintage or antique book page that I've stamped and put texture paste on. So there we go. This is some sketch paper, and I don't really want all that bulk, so I'm actually going to tear that down. And then that's the centre bit there. And then the choice is, like, you could staple them. I just recently saw Rachel do some notebooks and she stapled hers. I've never tried that. I might give it a go. I want to bend this now, but then also I'm worried that it's going to crack, which I think it's going to anyway. We should let it dry in half. I might try just gently This is 8, so if I gently score it at 4, we shall see what happens. I knew that would crack. But it is super cute, so what we'll do is we'll put fabric down here. Not quite in the center, and I don't really want to chop that off, but that's okay, I think. Now I'd quite like to sew all the way around there, but I'm not sure what will happen to this paper, this wallpaper, if I do that. Right, so I'm going to strengthen it with, I think I might use some tape. And then maybe something, lace or something over the top. We could just use, we could go real extra and use this. Just trying to have some fun. Maybe doing some things I wouldn't normally do, like oh, that's not straight, but it's kind of cute. Right, what about we add some lace or something to it? Yep, I'm gonna just do it. So that's another scrap of lace. Well, not scrap, but a small piece. We have a little bit of the green peeking out, and I know it's not going to be straight. That's okay. And then I'm going to wrap it round. Oh, I'm going to just cut it off here first. And then I'm going to add glue along here. And I might just smooth it out a bit with my finger so it's not so much. And then wrap this around. Go. Waiting for everything to dry is the key, and if you're doing a video, the temptation is to be super impatient and just sort of bend everything. So inside is a super tiny little journal, but actually it does fit inside, because this I look at this and I think, oh, that's going to be way too small in there, but it's actually fine, it's perfect. So that's our little journal, and I'm just thinking, is this the first thing I want to see? And I mean, I could go through and do some stamping or add some little snippets of this and that, because I've got little snippets of this and that sitting here on my desk. So you could we could add little bits of things. Little bits of lace, or right, so I'm going to fold that. Now if I was going to use staples, I probably should have done that before I put the lace on. And if you staple from the outside to the inside. That makes me really nervous. The other thing you could do is run the sewing machine down again. Probably should have done that before I put the lace on it. Can we get the lace off? Yes, we can. Here we go. Right, I'm going to try the stapler. I've never done it before. And I know I need to do it from the inside, or from the outside in. So I'll go overkill and use these huge big things. So I'm very nervous about doing this because the other thing you need to do is bend this in. So let's see what happens. It might be a big disaster because this is not going to reach. But if I bend it in, it's going to squish everything. Oh well, let's see what happens, shall we? That's what I keep saying, and then I keep not seeing what happens. Yeah, it's going to bend my cover, so I'm not happy about that. The other thing you can do with staples is you can open them up. You can open them up and do it on something firm. Let me think, what have I got that's hard that I could do this on? I could maybe do it on here. I don't know if it'll work. No. Okay, so that was a fail, everybody. Right. Super not happy with that. Okay. Probably need a bigger stapler and not such a delicate cover. So unfortunately now I've got holes in these pages, but that's okay. I'm going to replace this one here with something else. Let's see what I've got. There we go. I've got this just a little bit tall, so I'm just going to take a little bit off the bottom. Okay. Would look real cute with some sari silk ribbon tied. So I'm going to get my avocado dyed sari silk ribbon and I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to put a hole. Right, now let's think. If I'm going to tie it on the outside, then we can put the lace back on, can't we? Still sticky. Sometimes things just work better in your head. Well, let me rephrase that. Sometimes things work better in my head than they do in reality. And then when it doesn't work out, I think, why did I even bother? But then I am having fun, so. Right, so there's the middle, and I'm just going to do a hole there. And a hole there. And they're just little scrappy notebooks, I guess. Just going to use my blunt needle, and I'm going to try and use my needle to get this seam binding through. You cut it in a point. Sometimes it's easier to thread. This is crinkled, so it's even harder. I've actually got my window open. It's a beautiful day, and you might be able to hear the birds singing. Now I want to tie it on the outside, so I'm going to go in the hole, if I can find it. Let's find it this way, right there. But pulling this ribbon through might be problematic because it's thick. I'm going to try and just do it. Try not to do too much damage to the paper, but it probably will make big holes. That's probably the only thing about this sort of method, is that you end up with quite big holes in your papers. There you go. Let's take these big clips off. They're a little bit of overkill for such a small booklet, but they work really well. Maybe a little bit more ribbon. Do you want it in the middle or at the top? I'm going to do it in the middle. We can always change it. And then the whole thing can be undone. And the papers can be reused. Cut up or use for something else if someone wanted to. Because they're all, in this one, they're all vintage or antique. Oh, except for that, that's repurposed coffee dyed or tea dyed sketch paper. So there we go, there's one. It's a bit wonky, but that is beautiful, that wallpaper. It's nice to use something genuine rather than a copy. We've got a lot here to do. And I've done one. But that's just how long, that's just normal for me. That's how long I take to do things. Almost like that one. almost feel like that could be a cover. Quite like that. Oh, but I folded it like that. But we could fold it in like that way. And then we can tear this down. Whatever this is. It's all a bit scruffy. And quite like that, poking up there, that old piece of paper. So again, this one's all repurposed or antique papers, except for that digital there, but I quite like that. But I do want to take this one down a bit. Where are we? Here we go. Just tear that off. Oops, now we're ending up with that one sticking out. Okay, that's all right. Oops. I think I'd like something else in here that's old. (1907). Quite like that in the center. So I'm just thinking I could bind this one as well. And then we could decorate them. Yep, I think I'm just going to tie this one with string too. I think the less holes the better, because then people can take them apart. Or I could take them apart or whatever. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to clip it again. And that's about the center there, I think. So I'm just going to put a hole there. In there. And I think I'm just going to tie this with some string. So again, I will use my needle, my blunt needle, if I can get this through. Hopefully I'll be able to, should be able to. It's a big eye, yeah. I only just made that hole and yet now I can't get my needle through it. Isn't that just typical? Right, now let's just pull this string through again. It's quite thick. I've just made a journal using the open spine method and getting the ribbon through the holes. I was wishing that I had one of those Japanese punches, whoops, Japanese hole drill punches that Rachel has from Roxy's Creations. Right, so I'm just going to tie that. Really simple binding. I end up not liking it, I can always change it. So we didn't... Trying to make a dent in your scraps is harder than you think. I know you guys all know that, so you're going to cut me a break. But yeah, so I'm going to work on these little notebooks. I'm going to try and make more. I'm going to try and come up with some more different easy covers. This one, I just really liked this, so I thought, oh well, let's just make that the cover. And then maybe we'll just do a little bit more decorating. But yeah, that was just some scrap busting that I wanted to do. And I just thought I would turn the camera on. I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed it, I'd love you to give the video a thumbs up. Or subscribe if you're not already. It just helps YouTube put the video out to other people who might be interested. But yeah, I'll be back with more of these once I've got my head around what other ideas I could do, and hopefully I'll be a little bit more quick and get a bit more done. But anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope that I'll see you again soon. Bye.